Time for another edition of What Politicians May Not Want You to Know. We'll start with Randy Fine, Central Florida's newest member of Congress. Ran against what you called welfare for able-bodied people.
That's correct.
Yes, Fine spent years in the legislature railing on subsidies and health care from the government, but he's also a millionaire businessman who gave up his private health plan and took subsidized health care from the government.
I'd never experienced government-run health care, and I figured it was something that I should try.
So when he got elected to the legislature, he accepted around $15,000 a year in taxpayer subsidies for a part-time job. But you're able-bodied, and you're taking a government health care program that is around 90% subsidized by taxpayers. Square that for me.
It is a benefit of having the job.
But you don't have to take it.
You don't have to take a job. You don't have to get paid.
Back in Tallahassee, state leaders are pushing either for cuts in the sales tax or a cut in property taxes across the board. But they don't mention, or maybe some don't know, that voters already passed a property tax exemption for disabled first responders that most permanently and totally disabled first responders living in Florida cannot get.
No property tax relief at all.
Because a prior legislature passed rules excluding most of them from the tax break that prior lawmakers told us they did not intend to do because they passed a bill they did not read or did not understand.
And that's our problem. We have a bad communication problem.
Vote on the bill. Step 2, read the bill. And then step 3, say, uh-oh, what have we done?
You know, I don't know how you vote intelligently on something without having at least having the concept.
Meanwhile, State Capitol Police arrested a trans woman for using the women's restroom at the Capitol under the governor's bathroom law.
Must have separate facilities for men and women based on biological sex.
Putting Governor DeSantis in striking disagreement with his slightly younger self.
Do you support or oppose a law that would allow a transgender person to pick the bathroom that they choose?
I would not pass a law. I would leave it as it is and stay out of that.
That was 2018 before cultural flashpoints took hold and drove voting behavior as much as it does today, in yet another case of then versus now.
Must have separate facilities for men and women based on biological sex.
I think getting into the bathroom wars, I don't think that's a good use of our time.
In other news, the House advanced what could be the most striking changes in Florida's car insurance system in 50 years. In short, their bill would scrap no-fault insurance and require that we buy a different type of coverage instead. And if you're wondering what kind of impact that bill could have, well, read the legislature's own analysis. And I quote, "It depends on whether the changes made by the bill increase or decrease motor vehicle insurance premiums." In other words, their analysis reveals that the impact of the changes depend on the impact of the changes.
Nobody would want to go to their doctor and let them say, let's try it and see what happens, if they had no research to back it up.
Well, that's former Senator Jeff Brandes, who knows where this story is going. He served 4 years ago when the legislature also tried this car insurance overhaul, when their own analysis once again showed they cannot determine how it will affect policyholders, health insurers, injured drivers, or state and local governments. The governor later vetoed it, not knowing what it could mean. Vetoed, meaning the legislature actually passed it on logic best described by Senator Doug Broxson.
I'm very concerned about it. I believe that it has some negative potential, but I'm willing to vote for it.
Yeah, very concerning. Negative potential, willing to vote for it. And that could be their motto for a lot of things that they do not commission independent research on and may not know much about.
Most of your legislators are an inch deep and a mile wide when it comes to public policy, and there hasn't been a focus on housing or insurance, or really knowledgeable or curious legislators that want to dig in and find these solutions.
Which brings us to their plan to address the soaring cost of housing. This year, they're advancing a bill to discourage landlords from raising rent in the middle of an annual lease, which could help tenants for at least part of the year. But here's the part they may not want you to know. The state has already committed millions of tax dollars to help fund apartments that charge just as much as what people already pay or more.
So developers get subsidized to then turn around and charge more than the going rate?
Yeah. When you state it that directly, yes, it's that embarrassing, yeah.
Yeah, they offer subsidies and tax breaks to apartment developers if their buildings set aside a certain number of units for affordable housing. But see, they defined affordable to mean up to $2,100 a month for a one-bedroom apartment in Pinellas, Hillsborough, and much of Florida. And that costs more than what we can easily find on the open market.
Is that we're giving breaks to essentially market rate developers.
In other words, we're subsidizing the developers to build units
that they would have already built anyways.
And that they would have charged the same, if not more, for it in the end.
That's correct.
Well, check out the Fox Local app for the details. You'll find our 30-minute investigations on the housing crisis, 2 other 30-minute programs on the insurance crisis, plus deep dive specials on state boondoggles and follies in state and federal government. And of course, we'll keep tracking the action and inaction at the Capitol, what they may not want you to know, and show you how it often all comes down to money, power, and politics.